Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. In this video today, guys, we're going to be taking a look at XRP and the price action of XRP most recently and what we might be looking forward to in the next few days. We'll also be taking a look at some recent news with the SEC and Ripple lawsuit. So guys, as we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really appreciate that. If you are new, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. Now, I do tend to speak quite fast. It's been pointed out to me on the in the comment section of many of the videos. So guys, I have actually gone back and revisited some of the videos, and if you actually watch it back at 0.75, it actually kind of sounds normal. So I apologize, I just naturally talk fast. So if you want to slow it down, I totally get that. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into first, guys, what is going on with the SEC and Ripple lawsuit, and then we're going to get into the technical analysis here to see exactly what's going on when it comes to the price action of XRP. So we're going to start things off with this piece of news just here, right? So the SEC turns the tables, now wants Ripple to produce video recordings of internal meetings. Now, Ripple had managed to keep the fact that it recorded its meetings unnoticed until one of its employees was deposed and it was revealed. Now, the SEC is going after all of these recordings, turning the tables on Ripple, which has been going after the regulator's internal memos, right? So it's tit for tat almost, right? You'll want those internal memos, we want your internal recordings, right? But ultimately, I think it's just a bit of a show, and it's finally actually good to see that, you know, the SEC are actually trying to turn up the heat a bit, because it was a bit embarrassing for quite a large extent of this lawsuit, right? They weren't exactly trying very hard. So it's good to see that, you know, they're actually making Ripple's legal team work a little bit harder now. So that's going to be interesting to see what is inside these video recordings, what kind of comes of light out of this. I don't think this is overly going to be too damaging to the fact that the SEC have not really given fair notice to Ripple. It doesn't kind of get around that. Of course, if these recorded meetings do have some, knowledge being dropped there that they knew that they were doing potentially wrong, does this then void the fact that also the SEC never actually gave clarity to start with, right? Even the SEC do not actually acknowledge whether or not XRP is a security, right? So how, if the SEC do not know, how does Ripple know, right? Even if Ripple are discussing this in those video recordings, surely that's just speculation at that point. But it'd be interesting to see what comes, to fruition, what kind of comes out of these video meetings. I do think it's going to be interesting, right? So Ripple Labs Inc. Has been going after the SEC in specifically their internal memos in a bid to prove that the regulator failed in its role to establish regulatory clarity. But now the tables have turned. The SEC is going after Ripple, seeking to lay its hands on the company internal deliberations, right? The watchdog has filed a motion seeking access to the firm's video and audio recordings of its meetings. The SEC filed the motion before Judge Sarah Netburn, and this is the Southern District of New York yesterday, so August 30th, right? Here's a tweet and all that kind of good stuff. So according to the motion, the SEC wasn't aware that Ripple recorded its internal meetings. In fact, when the SEC requested that Ripple produce all relevant recordings in January, it was merely phishing. And despite the request, Ripple refused to reveal that it had several recordings of its meetings. However, it all changed on August 4th when the SEC deposed basically 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘, the chief compliance officer at the blockchain payments company. She revealed that Ripple routinely recorded staff meetings, a fact that the company had conveniently left out. When the SEC asked it to turn over these recordings, the firm refused to do so, despite acknowledging that Ripple maintains several categories of recordings, including all hands meetings, training, panels, and weekly meetings. Okay, so there's a fair amount of stuff probably in there. So it'll be interesting to see how all this kind of unfolds, right? And Ripple played us, SEC claims, right? Depending on what side of the table that you're on here, I think this is just kind of what you're going to expect to see when it comes to these legal battles, right? You're going to start seeing tit for tat. Ripple want the internal memos now. Obviously, the SEC want the internal recordings, etc. You're just going to keep it going around in circles at some point until, of course, discovery and that extension kind of comes to a close. But I still feel that this is likely to end in a settlement. Ripple played us the SEC claim. Let's see what's going on here. So Ripple has been considering the fact that it had on its hands information that was apparent to the lawsuit the SEC has claimed. Now, this is despite one of the most hotly contested things in the lawsuit being access to information from each faction. So the SEC has been going after Ripple's Slack messages, while the San Francisco firm has been going after the SEC's internal trading policies. So again, I think I will drop this into the description, guys, if you want to finish off reading this thing and get into a little bit more of the detail on this one, right? But definitely interesting to see how this is kind of progresses. I still feel that we're going to see settlement. That's the most likely outcome, in my opinion. Here, nothing good is going to come out of it from an SEC point of view, and I think ultimately the settlement is where the SEC will save face. Right, they'll get to basically claim it as a victory, but actually it will be more of a victory to Ripple in the end, I feel. Of course, maybe that's a little bit of hopium in there. I'm not sure, but I know XRP is my biggest position. I'm still very confident, and even if XRP is classed as security in the US, it only hurts the US at that point. Companies must migrate out. Ripple will just migrate out of the US, go to a regulatory friendly environment. This has already been widely discussed, and they already have shortlisted several places. And the only people who are going to get hurt in the long run is going to be the US, unfortunately. And the rest of the world that acknowledge that XRP is not a security will be able to just continue as is. That's why I do feel that it's most likely going to end up in settlement, and XRP will get the clarity that it needs, that it is not in fact a security because it's far too decentralized. It has a lot more use cases outside of Ripple. And of course, if Ripple, the company, were to disappear, XRP and the XRPL continue. This is the main point behind it and why you cannot class it as a security according to securities laws. It's very, very straightforward, right? If Ripple were to go and disappear, XRP is still out there. It's still a thing. XRP ledger continues to go on. So with that being said, I think this is going to likely end in settlement. And, even if it doesn't, and it does get classed as a security, it doesn't really affect anyone else in the world, only the US, and Ripple will most likely set up shop somewhere else, and business will continue as usual. So again, that's why I think we are not likely to see that outcome. I think it would be very, very foolish of the US to do so. And we'll have to see how it unfolds. But let's get into some technical analysis now on XRP and where we think things are likely to go. Obviously, we found good support right now on our $1.07. And again, we are still talking about this ABC correction, and that hasn't been invalidated just yet. So we obviously have to be mindful that until we start seeing, some different kind of technicals kind of play out here, XRP is still likely to kind of fulfill this C-wave correction. We'll get into that in a moment. Now, in terms of price predictions and price expectations, we have $16 here kind of marked out. This is the Fibonacci retracement tool from the previous all-time high all the way to the bear market close here, which obviously came in on March 2020, okay? And during this moment is when you started to see a good swing to the upside, right? And we started to see lots of good traction for XRP. And so this entire motion from all-time high down to March 2020, that bear market, and this actually then predicts out the Fibonacci 4.236, comes in at $15.91. So again, we're looking at pretty decent price expectations. That being said, though, the lawsuit obviously is kind of hindering things a tiny bit in terms of the amount of exchanges that are no longer holding XRP. That being said, though, it is still readily available to many places in the world, and you can of course get your hands on XRP if you need to. Okay, and obviously we didn't succumb to selling pressure during the original kind of pullback when Jay Clayton actually dropped the lawsuit. Instead, we were actually accumulating. This wave 4, I don't need to accumulate, but there were some fantastic accumulation points down here. And again, it might be dollar cost averaging better positions still ahead of where we are going, which of course is, as many people like to call us on the channel, moon boys, but to the moon, right? That's what people like to say. So everything is going quite well, technically speaking. Obviously, we do have to have pullbacks, which we'll get into in a moment. The price expectations are still up there. That has not changed. We do not change unless something else has changed in the technicals. It has not changed yet. So we still have some interesting targets to kind of go after. So nothing has changed there. Those are the price expectations. Of course, if Ripple do win this case and the banks decide that they're going to start utilizing XRP and all of those wonderful things, everything that it was designed to do, best case scenario all round, then you might actually see XRP go up towards that $67 range, okay? And that's just based on, again, more technicals, but it would require, speculating on everything goes exactly the way that Ripple wants it to go, okay? And that's not likely to happen. It's got a very low probability of that, but where my mind sits and where I think we are likely to see, that comes in here at $15.91. This represents 1,265% gains from the current position that we're on here. So significant push to the upside yet to come. And again, this doesn't even really rely much on settlement at that point either. It just basically means the bull market continues as is, and people are speculating that Ripple's going to win the case and XRP will shoot up. And when you start seeing that FOMO, that's when you'll start seeing this price discovery. Loads of people, XRP army, are hodling like crazy. So the supply is not what you think it is, and it is significantly lower. There is, of course, one big entity that is dropping XRP on the market all the time, and you're wrong if you think it's Ripple. It's actually 𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗪, who is, of course, the co-founder of Ripple, but also the co-founder of Stellar Networks. He is paid out frequently in XRP, and he is the one dropping it on the market. It is not Ripple. Now, Ripple do sell XRP according to the smart contract that has locked up 50 billion of the supply, and that smart contract released 3 billion per month, and Ripple actually pay back most of that XRP back into the smart contract, back into the escrow account where they do not touch it. So actually, Ripple are paying or doing the right thing here. They're utilizing the XRP according to their operational needs, and they are not just dropping it on the market. There is only one entity dropping it on the market in significant volume, and that is 𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪. Okay, so let's just clear that up right now. And again, on this technical stuff, obviously we're talking about $16. That's where we think it's going, unless something amazing happens. Okay. If we do see settlement, we are going to see a huge spike, a price spike as well. But I do think that will be short-lived before we start to see a massive correction on that as well. So $16 is where my mind is at. Let's jump down into our daily. Okay, and on this daily, we can see some of these interesting things that are playing out, right? Obviously, we have our 618, 702, 786 area of the Fibonacci. This is the key area that we're looking to get the closed candle above. And obviously up here, that's going to be the bull signal that takes us into the next step of XRP's journey. Obviously, though, we are in this ABC correction, right? A, B, and C. And obviously, at the moment, we are talking about trying to break this, right? We're holding support. If support holds and we actually go above our B wick here, then this whole ABC correction isn't going to happen. It's completely invalidated and it's fantastic, and we are pushing up. Great. If, however, we get rejected like we have been here, we've been rejected from the 618. This is $1.24. Rejected from there, and we start to come back down and we actually lose this support line and we start to go lower here, then the expectation is that we're going to go into the C wave correction, right? Dropping down lower. Now, what we're looking for is ultimately to go lower than our A wave. That will basically fulfill the C wave here. Okay, so I put this down at 93 cents. This is a good support line, but we also have to acknowledge that there are a few additional areas. 96 cents, $1. There's a lot of support areas in this journey just here in between this gap. So when it comes to thinking about accumulation and where you might want to do it, if we do see a C wave, there's going to be a little pocket in here, and we'll do a members video on this. I keep saying it, I will get around to it. We'll find that buy zone for anyone who wants to accumulate. Now, at least my buy zone where I would be accumulating if my bags were not yet filled. And with that being said, support is holding, so that's positive, and that basically means that we are not seeing this just yet. So as long as $1.07 holds, we are doing well, but we are getting rejected from these key areas at the moment, and this is a downtrend here. Okay, we obviously have to look at the stochastic. We can see that we're oversold 13.5, so pretty reasonably low here on that stochastic daily chart there. So that's looking pretty good. That's going to be basically indicating that we are looking to push the price up a slightly longer term. Okay, so obviously we have to get into our hourly view. Now, the hourly view, this is where we start to talk about what is going on most recently within the last few hours and what to expect next. Here you can see the wick really going up nice and strongly into the overbought area on the stochastic, getting rejected from the 618 and pulling back. When we throw the volumes on here, we can see that there was good volume coming in, and now we're starting to see the decrease in the volume is dropping. That's going to help protect the price as we stabilize down here yet again. Now, we are, of course, overbought, so we are looking for a correction on our stochastic. In doing this correction on the stochastic, whilst lowering our volume, we should protect the price, sideways trade, and get ready for that next step. Try to retest the 618 and try to get into that zone. Okay, so getting into here and trying to get above the 702 is where we're really trying to kind of come into our own and really push ahead. And again, we look where we were. 702 got rejected from here. We obviously fell all the way down to our support line. We went back up into this area here, just above the 618. We fell back, found the support back into the 618, just above it, and pulled back right down to our support line. Now we're obviously back up at our 618 area, and we're getting pulled back down. So again, the support line is absolutely key for us on XRP right now, to make sure that that holds out, and in order to see this correction come in and allow us to try another attempt at getting in into the 618, 702, 786 and try to get the closed candle up there. Those are going to be really vital areas for us as this journey continues, right? But obviously we can get really bogged down with the detail of our hourly views, our daily views. It's important that we do zoom out and we pay attention to where things are going longer term, because as an investor, specifically long term on something like XRP, it's always good to know where things are going, where we're going to expect the things to kind of end and come to a close before we go into a bear market again. And everything on this is looking very, very good. We've got a lot of traction. We are looking for small-term pullbacks on those hourly, those dailies, and they're all looking pretty nice, gearing up nicely for pretty big moves to the upside in the very near future. So again, it's always important that we do have our eyes set on the prize, right? We're obviously talking about the 1.618, the 2.618, the 3.618, and of course the 4.236. And these are, $6, $9, $13, $16, right? These are key areas and key price points for XRP in this particular cycle. So I also want to kind of just touch on before I finish this video what that actually means, right? Market capitalization is not a factor when it comes to price discovery. There are only two things that will actually count when it comes to price discovery, and that is going to be your circulating supply and of course your demand, right? So your circulating supply has to be squeezed, right? We have to see people hodling it, not willing to sell it, getting it off exchanges, for example, putting it into cold storage, maybe locking it up in a smart contract. Maybe something like 𝗕𝗘𝗪 would help with that. And in doing so, that will obviously mean that there's a limited amount of supply available to buy. And then what you start to see is people FOMOing in as the price starts to move, and basically then there's a higher demand, less supply, price spikes, because obviously when there is very few of a let's say of a gem or some kind of precious metal, then obviously people will speculate on the price going up over time. It's more precious because it's scarce. Just look at Bitcoin. And as a result, you get price discovery. What you want to avoid is the misconception that market capitalization is a barrier to price discovery, because market capitalization is only a simple calculation. It's the last sold price multiplied by the circulating supply. Now, that does not equal value. That only equals the last sold price multiplied by circulating supply. It does not equal money in a project. It does not equal the money flowing into a project, because if we think about XRP, how many people have been hodling it since it was down at 17 cents, myself included, then we didn't pay $1.17 for it. It's actually $1 over the price that I paid for it most recently. So I obviously haven't put that amount of money in there. So where does the market capitalization mean money? It doesn't, right? So we have to understand, one of the most basic concepts of market capitalization within the crypto space is that it does not represent the amount of money flowing into a project. It does not represent the amount of money in a project. It only represents the price of a project at that particular moment in time, and it fluctuates every few seconds as the price changes, as we see the next transaction go through. So it's important that we acknowledge what market cap is and what market cap is not, and it is not a barrier to price discovery. Like I said, price discovery requires only two things: the circulating supply, and of course we need to see the demand. So a squeeze on the supply and a high demand, you'll start seeing the price increase. Okay, so everything to kind of play for here for XRP. We can see, technically speaking, where things are likely to go. We have a multi-trillion-dollar market capitalization for the entire space as part of all of this, as we start to really peak out this end of the bull run during this year. Guys, hopefully you have found this video useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will not be kept, or you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. Right, with that said, done, and out of the way, I hope you have a fantastic day, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one.